Hello and welcome to the Olympic Aquatic Stadium in Rio de Janeiro. This is the preliminary session on what is the penultimate day of the swimming competition of the 2016 Paralympic Games. It is day 9 of competition, and this heat session will decide who advances to the final. There is plenty to be seen in the pool once again in this preliminary session, the heat session on day 9, with some incredible finals ahead of us. On the final session, but still to decide which swimmers will advance to the finals. In the respective heats, the 8 quickest advance straight through to the final. There are no semi-finals being swum, and preliminaries and finals same day. Well, certainly events to look out for. We'll see the likes of Evgeny Bogodaiku going for a 4th gold medal. He'll be up against the likes of Panya Shiun and Matthew Levy, as well as Jonathan Fox in the men's 100 Freestyle S7. An opportunity for Courtney Jordan in the women's race of the 100 Free S7 to claim her first gold medal since Beijing. James Crisp is looking good for a potential gold medal, but he'll battle the likes of Biskup and Hall in the men's 100 backstroke, while several other events will see the likes of Wang Yinan back in the pool. One of the great champions in Yang Bozun will be in the pool toward the end of this session. He'll go in the men's 200 individual medley SM11 against the likes of Alexander Maschenko, the reigning world champion in that distance. Again, the crowd slowly starting to filter into the venue. Sluggish response in the morning from the crowd, who do come out to enjoy the action, but there is some Brazilian, well, potential in the pool on day 9 of competition. And indeed, the further we go into the racing, the fuller the venue will get. It's been a consistent theme at the swimming pool at the Olympic Aquatic Stadium in Rio de Janeiro, but some magnificent swimming in store for us. Also look out for the men's and women's 100 Freestyle S13s. That should be a couple of ding-dong battles between a few swimmers. Iarborki looking for further gold as well. Swimming his 6th event of 7 at Rio 2016. Plenty of Brazilian flags in the venue already, and indeed a few wearing the colours of the Brazilian flag on their shirts. Opportunities to interact with so many people from around the world, many different cultures interspersed, always in the stands, smiles all around. The interaction is something to treasure at these major meets. So competition formats, we'll see the 8 fastest swimmers or the 8 quickest in the preliminaries qualify for the final of the event. But the men's 100 Freestyle S7 begins with 2 heats. This is the first of them. Brazilian representation in this first heat of 2, as Italo Pereira goes in 2. Van der Schuurman, Pereira, Jones, Bogodaico, Fox, Kwasnitsia, Levalier and De Marchena. David Roberts, the Paralympic record holder, reigning world record holder as well. David Roberts. So waiting for the swimmers to make their way to poolside. The competitors who'll go head-to-head in the first heat of 2 in the men's 100 Freestyle S7. Michael Jones going in lane 3 for Great Britain. Alongside him, though, is Evgeny Bogodaiko in his 6th event. Bogodaiko going in his 6th event of 6 in terms of individual events. The Brazilian Italo Pereira gets up onto the starters blocks. Going in lane 8, Jesus de Marchena Severo of Aruba. S7 classification. Marchena will start not from in the pool, but not on the starters blocks either. Starts in the pool as Severo just goes in. Going in lane 8, Sherman, Pereira, Jones, Bogodaiko, Fox, Kwasnitsia, De Valliere, De Marchena. Well, getting away in lane 5, it looked to be a very good start for Jonathan Fox, who's missed out on medals in this event in both Beijing and London. But looking for his first gold, he'll be looking to challenge in this men's 100 Freestyle S7, an event which he's improved by some margin in recent years. Michael Jones is tapering off, and Bogodaiko is looking well set in second position in a strong swim from the Ukraine's Kwasnitsia in lane 6, but it is definitely Fox who touches at the wall first.
Well, Fox didn't have the best start off the blocks. He wasn't slowest, but he certainly wasn't the quickest. He's made up his lost ground now, touching in at the first split. 29.98 was the first 50, looking very strong. He's now settled and found a really good rhythm.
He is looking very, very cool and calm in the pool. This is a very relaxed stroke from Jonathan Fox. Michael Jones is coming to his own in the back end as well and should touch second, so it should be Great Britain 1 and 2 in this heat, with Kwasnitsia, Bogodaiko between them touching third. It is indeed Fox who touches ahead of Jones. It's going to be Kwasnitsia who touches ahead of Bogodaiko. Only 4th quickest in the heat for Bogodaiko, a man who's already swum 6 events and is in his 6th individual event in this race. Fox touches quickest. 1:03.17. Jesus de Marchena being welcomed back. But Fox touching ahead of Michael Jones. 3rd was Kwasnitsia. 4th was Bogodaiko. 5th Sherman. 6th Lavalier. 7 Pereira of Brazil. And Aruba's De Marchena. Coming into the last 10 meters now. Will eventually touch. Man born in the Dominican Republic representing Aruba. De Marchena touches in 2:17.84. With Jonathan Fox, victor in the opening heats. Confirmation of the results. Great Britain 1-2 in the first heat of 2 in the men's 100 free S7. Fox ahead of Jones, Kwasnitsia and Bogodaiko. Ukrainian representation next. Sherman, Lavalier, Pereira and De Marchena of Aruba. This is the second heat of the men's 100 freestyle S7. Swimmers from the first heat still collecting their individual accreditations before making their way back to the holding area. Men's 100 freestyle S7, heat 2. one of the sprint specialists, Pan Shiyun, goes in lane 4. Matthew Levy of Australia, silver in 2012 and already bronze at the 200 IM. Silver of the World Championships last year, goes in 5. But Pan Shiyun, he's shown his strength over 50 distances, with gold in the 50 free and gold in the 50 fly. Kozlenko, Wang, Serrano, Pan, Levy, Polop, Taras, Aregi. Very good start in lane 6 for Tobias Polop of Germany. Got off to a very quick start. Great underwater from Wang Jing'an going in lane 2, and he actually comes up in front, pretty much level with Tobias Polop of Germany. Levy and Pan are both very, very strong and quick in the water, and Pan, with that powerful kick of his, is looking to drive himself, propel himself to the wall at the opening 50 to touch ahead of the others, but I think Polop might just be holding on to touch first. It's going to be close though at the 50.
Well, it was actually Pan who touched in, but only by a very slim margin. Polop touching in second. So the first 50 was 30.76. Interestingly, it was Wang who had a fantastic first 50 swimming in lane 2. He has dropped his rate though. He went out extremely hard in that first 50, and now it's the centre of the pool to keep an eye on. Levy as well doing well in lane 5, but it does look as though Pan is going to finish strongly here.
Well, Serrano is actually making a real push in the closing stages. Pan or Serrano, depending on the stroke. It might be the Colombian Serrano who touches quickest. He does. He glides to the wall in what is not his quickest event generally. Serrano, the great breaststroker, touches ahead of Pan, with Levy, silver medalist of 2012, touching third quickest overall. So the slower of the heats, but faster swimmers, with Serrano, Pan and Levy all touching within a second odd of one another. Now Serrano going in lane 3, good underwater, but at the turn, challenge was really on between Polop and Pan. It looked to be. Pan kept it up in the turn, but Serrano, with a good strong last 25, sees him do enough to get to the wall quickest, and he touches 103.8. Pan, Levy and Polop as well, 105.73. He'll be well in qualifying. Wang might miss out with a 107.4. So Bogadaiko, 3-time gold medalist, 2 silvers in his 6th individual event, only qualifies in the outside lanes, he and Kwasnitsia. But Fox, Serrano, Pan, Levy, Polop and Jones make up the remainder of the swimmers who advance to the 100 free S7 final. This is the first heat of 2 in the women's 100 freestyle S7. Levy, Graal, Jordan, Huang and Dubber. Great Jacqueline Frenny, gold medalist in London, still a world record holder. The quickest start from Huang Yajing of China. Denise Graal got off nicely too. Courtney Jordan will look to quicken her pace in the water and does find a settled stroke now. It's a very quick rate, however. But indeed, Graal, Jordan and Huang, all 3 are pulling away from Halevi and Dubber. They go in the outside of the lanes in 2 and 6. But Jordan will be fancying herself for a gold medal in this race, but will not necessarily want to prove a point in the heats. But Graal and Huang are both leading Jordan at the 50.
Well, I suspect Jordan's just going to swim as conservatively as she can, given she's had such a busy program here at the Rio 2016 Paralympic Games. It was Graal who touched in first. 34.47 was the first 50 split. Huang not far off the pace though, 35.26, and it looks as though Graal is continuing to have a very strong back 50, and she should easily bring home for the win in heat number 1.
So Denise Graal is looking good for the victory in the first heat of 2 in this women's 100 freestyle S7. Graal is going to come in lane 3. It looks like it's going to be 3.54, and indeed it is. Graal, Huang, Jordan in lane 6. Rebecca Daba touching 4th, and Halevi of Israel touching 5th. Good strong swim from Graal, a good reaction time off the blocks. The 23-year-old finishes ahead of 19-year-old Huang Yajing of China, who's finished outside the medals in all of her events so far at 2016. Courtney Jordan, though, handful of silvers and a bronze, the reigning world champion in this event.
Well, you can see Huang on the screen there. Had a great swim, a solid outing, but just not wanting to overswim too much in the heat round, because the format is qualification in the morning and the final in the evening, and most of these swimmers have extremely busy schedules here.
So confirmation, Graal ahead of Huang, ahead of Jordan, Daba and Halevi. They will wait to see if they can advance to this final. This is the second heat of 2 in the women's 100 Freestyle S7. Shot of Germany, Ratliff of Canada, Cohen of USA, Great Britain's Rogers, Kay of China, and Tilk of Estonia. Lanes 2 to 7, 6 swimmers. Mackenzie Cohen, 2-time gold medalist already in individual events, plus a relay silver to her credit. Ratliff going in 3 for Canada, got off to a good start, but so too Rogers for Great Britain. Second in 2013, third in 2015 at the World Championships, a bronze medalist of London 2012, and she's been caught by Cohen on her outside. Now, Cohen and Jordan train alongside one another in the United States. Cohen and Jordan, very good friends, very close friends, and are both very good at this event, swimming similar times. But strangely enough, despite the fact that Jordan is the reigning world champion who swam in Heat 1, Cohen is swimming faster times this year in this event and is looking to prove that point with a touch at 33.55 at the 50 split.
Well, that 50 split for Cohen, 33.55, as you say, a full second quicker than in the previous heat. So we know she's taken it out a lot harder and perhaps wanting to set herself up for the inside lane heading into the final.
She's definitely got the inside lane going at this speed. She's a second and a half ahead of Rogers at the 50 touch, and she'll be well ahead of that by the time she hits the 100 wall. So Mackenzie Cohen is swimming very strongly here, and Kenzie, as she's known to many, is going to touch the wall well ahead of anybody else, and she's just outside Paralympic record time here, Mackenzie Cohen, a 109.74. Rogers hits the wall second, and it's third for Kay Lee Ting, only just ahead of Ratliff of Canada going in 3. Shot finishes 5th, and Tilk of Estonia comes to the wall in 123.85. So that is a very strong swim from Mackenzie Cohen, a 109.74, just showing a little intent. Good dominant display early on, high intensity from Cohen.
Well, she took it out hard. The end result, that second heat was about 4 seconds faster than the first heat, so there's more than just a little difference there. She took it out hard, but what was impressive was, given she's in the middle of a very busy program, she just seemed to swim that back 50 at a very solid pace, didn't appear to drop it or tire at all.
Very popular champion was Mackenzie Cohen for 2 of her golds. And she set herself up nicely for centre lane in the final of the women's 100 free S7. Confirming who advances to the final though. Cohen quickest ahead of Graal, Huang, Rogers, Jordan, Kay, Ratliff, and Schott of Germany. So 2 Germans, 2 Americans, 2 Chinese swimmers. Great Britain and Canada also represented.
This is the men's 100 metres backstroke S9 classification, heat 1 of 2. We have 7 athletes swimming in each heat, and including the world champion Brendan Hall from Australia, who's swimming in lane 5. We'll look at the lineup there. We've got Kwon from Korea, Reynolds from New Zealand, Hodge from Australia, Biscuit from Poland, actually with the quickest qualifying time. Hall in 5, Powell in 6, and Mozella in 7. Paralympic record time is 1:02:39, set in London by Matthew Cowdrey. Biskup in 4 was 4th at the World Championships. He's been making finals here in Rio, but no medal as yet. And Brendan Hall has a gold in the 400 free. He's older and stronger. This is his 3rd Paralympic Games. He's had a beautiful underwater there and off to a good start. Up and stroking, has a narrow margin. Over in lay 2, Jesse Reynolds from New Zealand is also off to a good start. And down in 6 from Brazil, the local hope, Lucas Mozella, is also going well. But it's almost an even line across the pool. And in lane 4, it's Biskup who's making an early charge towards that first turn, and he'll almost certainly touch in first at the 50-metre mark.
Well, yeah, indeed, it is Biskup who touches just ahead of Reynolds for New Zealand going in lane 2. 3rd was Hodge, and Hall only 4th overall, but he can finish strongly, can Brendan Hall. But you get the sense that with the likes of Justin Zook and Matthew Cowdrey both having retired, that the medals really are up for grabs here, and it's anybody's race. Somebody just needs to stick their hand up. At the moment in the heats, certainly looking strong is the Polish swimmer Patrick Biskup.
Well, Patrick Biskup on the hunt for his first medal of these games. Look how he's finished. It's been a sensational final 25. He'll finish a half body length in front of Hall, who is in the next lane, so it may be Australia 2 and 3, but Biskup easily taking the win, and he'll get a lot of confidence from that swim heading into the final. The time 1:05 flat. So well outside the record time, but that's not what he needed to do to get through to the final. And he's shown he is a very realistic medal prospect. Hodge there from Australia also had a solid swim. Wasn't a lot in it at the wall.
Well, Biskup just looked very calm and composed, very relaxed. Hall trying to use that underwater as he does, and in the end did have a stronger back end as we suspected he might, and touches 2nd overall.
Biskup, who's 18, the winner of Heat 1, and Hall, Hodge, Reynolds, Powell, Mozella and Kwon rounding out the results in that heat. The bit of a nervous wait for several of those swimmers as we see how Heat 2 shapes up. So Heat 2 of the men's 100 metres backstroke S9 classification. Another 7 swimmers contesting for a finals berth. The fastest 8 going through to the final later on day 9. White, Garbe, Toth, Crisp, Liu, Bureau and Pangabeen from Indonesia. Toth in 3, the Hungarian, he's 24. Already has a bronze in the 100 free and multiple medals in London 4 years ago. Crisp from Great Britain is 33. He was the silver medalist in London and silver medal at the Worlds. Won the gold in this event in Sydney. And Liu Xiaobing, the bronze medalist from London, who's now 26. The Brazilian you can see on your screen as well. So more to cheer for the local crowd. Andre Garbe, he's 19. So White, Garbe, Toth, Crisp, Liu, Bureau and Pangabeen. So just a slight delay at the start there. Well, Chris was very high on the side of the pool and arched his back into the water, but he didn't make the most of the underwater, and it's actually Toth in lane 3 who had a beautiful glide and made the most of it before he broke water, and now he's up and stroking most likely in first position, but Bureau, who is down in lane 6, is also cruising pretty well, but it does look as though Toth is managing to build a modest lead as they head into the first turn. He may almost have half a body length from the rest of the field.
Well, Toth is looking very good. He does get off to very good starts, but does he have enough in the back end? Somebody who is used to swimming in these distances, but more of a freestyle specialist, although this is one of his preferred events. So Toth is looking to hold on, in fact, even extending his advantage here over Crisp and Liu of People's Republic of China. So between Crisp and Liu for the second touch in this pool, but they both have fight in them and will come back strong. Toth, is he fading? Oh, it looks like he might, while Garbi is looking strong in lane 2.
Well, it's Liu who's had a fantastic backhand 50. He may well touch in first. There's not going to be much in it between Liu and Crisp, but touch in it. It's Crisp. He got there. Liu's just had about a quarter of a stroke to get there. It's touching in just behind, and what a performance, particularly in that final 25. They were trailing Toth by a substantial margin, about 3/4 of a body length, but both swimmers, perhaps sensing each other side by side, really pushed right to the wall. So the time in heat 2 is 1:05.
Well, it's a great underwater from Toth. Crisp swam the smart race. He's very experienced, this James Crisp. He's been there and thereabouts in this event for the better part of 2 decades. Now at 33, he was a world champion as far back as 18 years ago in New Zealand. And Crisp just timed his stroke to perfection at the wall. Hand touches perfectly, and it was down to that touch that sees him taking the victory in heat 2.
Well, it looks as though they've swum an identical time, Crisp and Biscuit in the first heat. Look at that, 1:05 flat, 1 and 2. So that's setting up a very interesting final indeed, and really not a lot splitting the top 6 swimmers who've gone through, less than a second. This is the women's 100 metres backstroke S9 classification. We have 3 heats, 18 swimmers across the 3 heats. And we'll run through the start list for you. We've got Ketkaur from Thailand, Cruz, Aspden, Wang Shu and Achuna Sanchez swimming in 7. So they're lanes 2 through to 7. 6 swimmers. Aspen is 16. She made the 400 metres final and would love to make the final of this event. Wang was bronze in the 50 metres free and won this event at the Asian Para Games. So one to watch in 5. Now Aspen in 4. The quickest qualifier in this heat, at least, and she is off to a terrific start. A beautiful arch of the back. And Wang also, and it's Shu in lane 6, who was actually underwater the most, didn't appear to capitalise. It seemed to lose a little speed just as she came up to break water. But at the moment, it's Aston and Wang in lanes 4 and 5, easily building a lead on the rest of the field. Perhaps taking it out a little harder because they know that there's another 2 heats to come. So you really can't swim too conservatively when you're in the first heat of the day.
Well, indeed, that is pretty much the crux of the matter. Aspen and Wang, they realise that it's not James Crisp who touched first. It was Hannah Aspen of USA that touched first. The graphic yet to be updated, it seems, but Aspen of the United States touching ahead of Wang. She's a 1:12 swimmer coming into Rio 2016. The top swimmers in this event are going 1:08 currently in the year, so she's going to need to go substantially faster if she is to qualify for the finals, you suspect, but she's making a good push of it here.
She is. She's got a beautiful long stroke. Slowed the tempo a little, but that catch is amazing. You can see her hand gliding by the side of her body. And she's going to touch in under that time she qualified, so 1:11.78. And it will be Wang in lane 5 that came in second position for the heat, and Shu from China as well, 1:18.74. We'll have to see whether that is a good enough time to get her through to the final, given we have another 2 heats still to come. Hannah Aston, 1:11.78. She's just 16 and gaining valuable experience here at the Rio 2016 Paralympic Games. So it's the USA 1, China 2, 3, Cruz from Brazil finishing in 4. But there's Aston. She looked fantastic through this heat.
She did. Pushed by Wang as well. They both realized the significance of swimming a faster race to try to work their way into the final. And a 1:11 should see her comfortably in. Wang, though, a 1:14.14. It's an Asian record. Aspen's parents sitting watching.
So the final lineup there from Heat 1, Aston easily touching in first. Wang, Xu, Cruz, Ketkor and Asuna Sanchez will have to wait to see whether they've done enough. But we've got 2 very competitive heats still to come. This is Heat 2 of the women's 100 metres backstroke S9 classification. Sechi, Keane, Marquez Soto, Marin, Newfi and Haas Quiros. So Italy in 2, Ireland in 3, Spain in 4, Great Britain in 5, New Zealand in 6. And the lanes to watch, based on qualification time at least. The Spaniard in lane 4, Nuria Marquez Soto. There's Keane, you can see on your screen there. Ellen Keane, the youngster. It's a qualification time of 1:16.09, so a little slower, perhaps not in her preferred event. Remembering the Paralympic champion and world champion Ellie Cole still to come in the 3rd heat. So again, we should expect a reasonably quick heat number 2, given there are 18 swimmers vying for just 8 places in the final. Well, it was a good start for Newfi from New Zealand. She's going to be up and stroking first, but there's not a lot in it at the moment. Ellen Keane had a fantastic underwater section of her first length of the pool, and she's up and stroking at quickish tempo, and right next to her is Marquez Soto, who clearly wants a berth in the final. She's setting a really good pace, and she's going to head into the wall and touch first at the first 50, and perhaps laying her claim to a berth in the finals.
We're looking to touch at the first 50 here. Marquez Soto of Spain, the 400 free champion, is looking for something promising in the back as well. Amy Marin is pushing her, the 18-year-old from Great Britain, slightly older, slightly more experienced as well, but doesn't have that championship she would have liked. A 100 backstroke event, though, that sees one dominant swimmer going ahead of Keane, Marin and Newfi of New Zealand.
Well, Marquez Soto is going to touch in easily first. It's going to be a close touch for second here. It looks as though it could be Amy Marin. And, well, another heat. The times are very similar to the first heat, only 0.06 of a second between the winning time in the first heat that was swum by Aston and Marquez Soto swimming a 1:11.22, Amy Marin a 1:14.06. There she is, she's very happy with that performance. And Ellen Keane, the youngster, you can see on your screen there, touched in third, 1:15.44, and we now have to wait and see whether she's done enough. Different styles there, you can see different preferences of the swimmers as to how far they pull themselves up on the wall and how deep they want to get under the water. So Marquez Soto built a lead early and easily maintained that, and will almost certainly head through to the finals.
Keane looked very good for a while, but Marin pulled away in the closing stages to touch second, but it's all about the Spanish swimmer. Marquez Soto going in for Helen Keane's parents. The outfits. Marin touches second.
Let's wait for the results of Heat 2 to be confirmed. And we've got a disqualification from Sechi, which is disappointing for her. However, she wasn't featuring as a real prospect for the finals. So Marquez Soto, 1:11.22 the mark so far. Interesting to see how Ellie Cole swims this third heat. This is the women's 100 metres backstroke S9 heat number 3 of 3. And 6 swimmers again. Ichinosi in 2, Konkoly in 3, Cole in 4, Smith in 5, Gray in 6 and Sims in 7. Cole is the Paralympic champion, the world champion. She already has 4 medals in Rio. The only gold is a relay gold. She'd love an individual gold medal. And she is the out-and-out favourite to take this event. Qualification time full 2.5 quicker than the rest of the field. And we're looking to test herself in this heat. We should be able to get a sense of how fresh she's feeling by how she swims this heat. She knows what the previous marks are. She knows she can go a lot faster than the qualification time set in the previous 2 heats. But will she send a message to the rest of the field, or swim within herself and just do enough to qualify amongst the quickest for the final? We will wait and see. Just a slight delay at the start there. Her world record time is 1:08.67, which she set at the World Championships in July last year. The Paralympic record was set in Beijing 8 years ago by Stephanie Dixon, 1:09.3 seconds. Well, Elizabeth Smith went very deep in the water and perhaps only just broke water just in time, it's fair to say. And she's up with a half body length advantage over the rest of the field, but that is rapidly diminishing. Ellie Cole is finding her rhythm, stroking beautifully, looking very relaxed and almost looking as though she's doing it easy, even though she's overtaking Smith as they touch into the first turn.
Going into the first turn, it is indeed Ellie Cole of Australia who leads ahead of Elizabeth Smith. Third overall is Konkoly of Hungary. South Africa's Gray is 4th quickest, but Ellie Cole is swimming well within herself here, not taking it out too hard. Elizabeth Smith alongside her. She's also, in the latter days of competition, started to look strong for the United States and is going along very nicely. Sims has fallen by the wayside. Konkoly and Gray still in for a prospect of touching third in this race, but it's about Cole in front.
Well, Cole has had a easy looking swim. She'll qualify, well, equal fastest, would you believe, with the result from the second heat, 1:11.22. So for the second time today, we're seeing identical times swum across different heats. There's Ellie Cole's supporters there. She is the Paralympic and world champion. She's feeling good. Look at that. Looks very comfortable. So the winner of Heat 3, Ellie Cole from Australia. And touching in second was Elizabeth Smith. She had a great first 50, but just appeared to tire a little, and then her stroke slowed down considerably the back end 50. You can see here she stayed underwater for a very long time indeed. And it wasn't long before Ellie Cole found her rhythm and really pushed towards the end of the first length, but just did what she needed to for the rest of the race.
Cole so strong flag to flag, but Elizabeth Smith with a great underwater, and she's very good off the start. Emily Gray, South Africa's 3-time Paralympian, finishing her Rio 2016 where it all started for her 8 years ago. Gray touches third fastest.
The final result from Heat 3, Ellie Cole, Elizabeth Smith and Emily Gray, the 3 quickest. So the lineup there, we see 1:11.22 for both Marquez Soto and Cole, Aston, Marin, Wang, Smith, Keane and Naufi from New Zealand has just snuck into the 8th position. So 2 athletes from the United States will contest the final. One from Spain, Great Britain, China, Ireland and New Zealand.
Now for a little sprint action. This is the men's 50-meter freestyle S8, the first heat of 2. Onair, Souza, Cochrane, Hernenko, Craig, Yang and Mortensen go in lanes 1 to 8. Tarasov, Paralympic champion, world record holder. A couple of swimmers in this event that can go sub 26. Not likely to see it in the heats. Hernenko, the only sub 27 swimmer this year in this event. Hernenko, though, off to a very slow start. But Joseph Craig looked good in 5, and Blake Cochrane of Australia went off very quickly going in lane 3, and inspired by this crowd. Gabriel Souza is looking good at the moment in lane 2. Very strong in the kick and one-arm action, but at the moment it is fighting back in lane 5. Craig against Hernenko finishing strongest. Will it be Hernenko to grab it at the wall, or will Craig hold on? It's going to be, well, very tight indeed, but Hernenko gets it at the wall ahead of Craig, with Yang touching in 3rd. Hernenko very sluggish off the starting block, a very slow reaction time, but he does enough to touch just ahead of Joseph Craig. 1/100th of a second that separates them, but Hernenko nearly 0.2 of a second slower than Craig reaction time off the blocks, and you can see that difference.
Well, and that can prove to be extremely costly when we're talking hundredths of a second. Not such a concern in the heats when you know you can swim quick enough to qualify, but in the final it can be the difference between a golden and silver or a bronze and placing 4th. So he'll know that heading into the final.
Confirmation then of the results. By 1/100th of a second, it is Hernenko ahead of Craig, with Yang Guanglong of China finishing 3rd fastest, Cochrane, Souza, Mortensen and Onair. This is the second heat of 2 in the men's 50 freestyle S8. Lopez, Andrade, Rozoy, Wang, Boshinsky, McAllister, Song and Carrera. McAllister got off nicely, swimming for Canada. Zach McAllister to be showing a little intent in the pool. Going in lane 7 though is Song Mao Deng of China, who is now leading at the moment. Boshinsky looking to catch up, and Wang Bozun will find himself back in contention to touch first at the wall. A little race on here, and Wang Yinan indeed is the swimmer to touch. Wang ahead of Boshinsky and Song. McAllister 5th fastest overall. Rozoy of France touches in 27:44, outside his best.
So the quickest out of the blocks, at least on paper, was Song and Wang. But McAllister and Andrade Guilin also had a good start.
So Wang Yinan, 26.8. He and Boshinsky, both sub 27, will qualify quickest for the finals, ahead of Song and Rozoy. Rozoy comfortably into this final. McAllister of Canada, the last place in the draw. Wang, Boshinsky, Song, Hernenko, Craig, Rozoy, Yang and McAllister. The first heat of 2 in the women's 50 freestyle S8. As the sprints continue. We have had a withdrawal in 6, so De Araujo of Brazil will not swim Winter, Chiang, Istomina, Patterson, Millwood, Tripp and Duquesne. 6 won't go. There we go. Confirmation. Winter, Chiang, Istomina, Patterson, Millwood, Tripp and Duquesne. 6 is vacant. Going in lane 4, it is Lakeisha Patterson of Australia, who got off to a good start alongside Steph Millwood. Millwood looking good once she broke water. Going in lane 2, Jiang Shengang of People's Republic of China is building up some serious speed. She's got great power through the legs and a wonderful leg drive at the moment. She might just touch ahead of Millwood here, while Patterson is looking set for a 3rd place touch. Is she going to hold on here? Will it be Millwood of Great Britain who touches first in Paralympic record time? Jiang touches 2nd, only just behind the Patterson 3rd fastest in this opening heat of 2 in the women's 53 S8. A smile from Millwood, 30.82. Outside her best, but a Paralympic record nonetheless. Jiang of China got off to a very good start from lane 2. Stephanie Millwood, though, swimming in lane 5, touching in Paralympic record time. Real battle between the two, separated by 700ths of a second, and then Patterson closing fast, only 1500ths of a second behind the winner of the opening heat, Steph Millwood. Istomina touching 4th fastest, going in 3. It's the 2nd heat of the women's 50 freestyle S8. There is one swimmer to keep a particular eye on. Paralympic record of Wegerman, who goes in 2, has just been beaten by Millwood, but the world record holder, 2-time world champion Madison Elliott, goes in late, silver medalist in 2012 behind Wegerman. But how she has come on since losing out in that final in London 4 years ago. She won the 2013 World Championships, then went on to break the world record in 2014, and then in 2015 successfully defended the World Championship title, and she first won in 2013. And consistently swimming 30.5 or less over this distance, so she's very quick, and it's going to take plenty of work for anybody to catch Madison Elliott if she swims to her potential. Getting away strongly in 2 is the defending champion Wegerman of the United States, but Elliott is being pressured by Slater on her outside, and indeed Morgan Bird of Canada looking good going in lane 7. It's Slater who will be caught by Elliott, but I'll tell you, the effort from Slater is showing, because this is very fast for a heat. Madison Elliott is going to be swimming about 31 seconds here, and she comes in 30.83, very fast time for a heat, ahead of Slater, ahead of Bird. Jessica Long finishing only 5th, 31.7, sees Jian of China touch from lane 7, 4th fastest in the heat. But Madison Elliott at 30.83, so fast heat overall, but still not quite as fast as Steph Millwood's 30.82. Millwood will have the centre lane, having set the Paralympic record in the opening heat. Solid enough start, but Elliott not pushing herself. The 17-year-old is blessed with talent in this event. She's got a sprinter's pace, and we're looking to prove her ability as a sprinter come final time, but comfortably through to that final, and at a good lane draw as well. Confirmation of the results. Elliott touches quickest ahead of Slater. Bird of Canada 3rd. Jian of China 4th, and then USA's 5, 6 and 7 through Long, Wegerman and Bro. Luryankova of Czech Republic touches 8th. Quickest in the heats that advance to the final. Istamina just sneaks in. It's Millwood, Elliott, Jiang, Patterson, Slater, Bird, Jin, and Istamina into the women's 53 S8 final.
This is the men's 50 metres backstroke S4 classification. And the one to watch will be swimming from lane 4, the world record and Paralympic record holder Juan Reyes. Duncor, Povasil, Reyes, Cordero and Morelli in the first of 2 heats. And five swimmers in the first heat and 6 in the second. Povasil was 4th in this event in London. The Czech swimmer would love to finish among the medals here, and Cordero from Brazil will give the home crowd plenty to cheer about, but he was 6th at the World, so we should see him feature in the finals. The world record holder, Reyes, as we mentioned, and Paralympic record holder. He set that in 2008, so it's been a while since he swam that fast in competition. 42.71, that mark. Most of the qualification times around the 45-46 second mark, although Reyes swam a 44.54 to qualify. Cordero from Brazil, 46.81. Povasil posted a 47.40. An all-out sprint to the opposite end of the pool. Very little margin for error. Duncor from Thailand swimming in 2. And Morelli from Italy swimming in lane 6. So the first of 2 heats for the men's 50 metres backstroke S4 classification. Event Reyes won in London, Beijing, Sydney and Athens. At 34 now, can he maintain his title? And he breaks water a lot later than the other athletes, but it is easily Reyes with his dolphin-like motion, that dolphin kick on his back, which is proving just to be so efficient. Such strength through the torso is required to maintain that at a fast rate over the 50-metre distance. So it is Reyes, the world champion, the defending Paralympic champion, who easily has 1.5 body lengths on the rest of the field. In second at the moment is Povasil. It's going to be a very quick time. It's not going to be a record time, but he's going to send a message to the rest of the field. So Reyes in first, it'll be Povasil touches in second, and the huge cheer you can hear is for Cordero, who's touched in third position, and the crowd hopes has done enough to qualify for the final. 45.96, the winning time set by Reyes, and 48 seconds flat by Povasil, and Cordero 49.07. Remember, we still have 6 swimmers in heat number 2. So a wait now for Cordero. He may well have done enough, but we can see Reyes took some time. He was so effective underwater. You get a better sense of exactly how well he's moving through the water when you see that underwater shot. But the athlete from Mexico looks set to do his country proud yet again. So the results there are confirmed. Reyes easily in front of the rest of the field and not swimming his quickest. We know he has a lot more to give should come finals time. And he's certainly done what he needed to make it through. This is heat 2 of the men's 50 metres backstroke S4 classification. 6 swimmers. We have Lopez, Sanchez, Martinez, Petrocek, Hernandez, Liu and Kelly swimming from lanes 2 through to 7. Sanchez Martinez was the bronze medalist in London. Petrocek 5th in London. Hernandez has only been para-swimming since 2012, and he was 4th in this event at the Pan American Games. Quickest on paper, Petrocek from Czech Republic, swimming in 4, swam a 43.40 to qualify, and Hernandez, who's swimming in 5, swam a 45.33. The crowd really getting involved, very generous in their support across the event. So Petrocek by far spending longer underwater. He doesn't have the advantage of the others to be able to get up and stroking quickly, so he's really making the most of streamlining underwater. He's in a slim lead at the moment. It's Liu from China in lane 6 who's found a fantastic rhythm and will challenge for the win in heat 2. But Petrocek has about a body length lead at this stage. Again, that dolphin kick motion, which is very difficult to maintain at high intensity, gives you a sense of the strength. It's Liu who's coming home very quickly, but Petrocek will take the win in heat 2. And it's Liu in second position in heat 2. So the times there, it was actually a quicker heat. 43.69, the winning time for heat 2, Petrocek, and Liu Yuntao 44.42 in second position. Hernandez from Mexico 44.49. So Gustav Sanchez Martinez touched in at 47.95. We may actually see 3 Mexican athletes in the final. We'll just await final confirmation of those results.
Well, yeah, it's looking very good for Mexico at the moment, certainly in this men's 50-meter backstroke. Petrocek looked superb, though, and did. He took it out very quickly. Also, very powerful leg action from Petrocek, just surging through the wall, propelling himself to the wall. And the faster of the heats, happy with it. High fives. Petrocek gets a high five from Hernandez. On a great swim, and it really was.
A lot quicker in that heat, as we mentioned, so easily touching in first despite that late surge from Liu, and Hernandez the third position. Ahmed Kelly from Australia finishing 6th, Lopez from Portugal 5th. And the 3 Mexicans, there you go, they will have all made it through to the final. So we have Czech, China, 3 athletes from Mexico, another from Czech, so 2 Czech Republic athletes. Brazil will be represented, much to the delight of the crowd here, and Ephraim Morelli from Italy qualifying the 8th quickest. This is the women's 50 metres backstroke S4 classification. The record in this event has stood since Atlanta in 1996. 51.48. 2 heats, 4 athletes in the first heat, 5 in the second heat. Miranda Herrera in lane 3, Cheng Jiao in 4 from China, Edina Garcia from Brazil in 5, and Sonia Segar de Totter from Sagana de Totter from Iceland swimming in lane 6. Clean start for all athletes. Cheng Jiao has already 2 gold medals here in the individual medley and in the 50 metres breaststroke. And look at this, she's opening up a lead, a substantial lead. Not yet at the 25-metre mark is Cheng Jiao, having a fantastic swim. We know she's been in sensational form heading into this event, and well, she's really stamping her authority in this first heat. There's 2 heats to come. The Rest of the field will be watching on for heat 2, thinking, oh my goodness, she is the woman to beat. She's found a great rhythm, very strong stroke, and she may well set a record. Well, look at this, a new world mark swum in heat 1 of the day, 47.68. And it's the Brazilian who gets the biggest cheer, touching in second, and Miranda Herrera in third position in heat 1. A very quick swim from Cheng Jiao. The 50 metres backstroke S4. And as we mentioned already, such a successful Games. Much thanks to the Brazilian crowd comes from Edina Garcia from Brazil, who should have done enough to make it through to the final. We have 5 more athletes to compete in heat 2, and there's Miranda Herrera, 44, a dual Paralympic gold medalist. She was 6th in this event in the world, so as expected by her, should make it through to the final. We expect her time would be enough. And you can see there, Cheng just kept pushing through, didn't want to leave anything to chance, and still has the 50 free to swim after the 50 back, so a very busy program at the Rio 2016 Paralympic Games. So we have a new world and Paralympic record set in heat 1. The rest of the field would have been watching on, seeing that ominous sign for the final, knowing that Cheng is in great form. So confirmation of those results: 47.68, Garcia swam a 54.59, 56.05 for Miranda Herrera. So they're the top 3. This is heat 2 of 2 of the women's 50 metres backstroke S4 classification. 5 athletes swimming. Starting from lane 2, Karolina Hamer from Poland, Deng Yue from China in 3, Ariola Trimi in 4 from Italy, Manya Verbova from Ukraine in 5, and Maria Lafina from Ukraine in 6. So the 2 Ukrainian athletes will swim side by side, as we have seen in a number of the events at the Rio 2016 Paralympic Games. They've enjoyed such success in the pool, the Ukrainian swim team. A large number of athletes competing. So the new mark of 47.68 set by Cheng. So Deng in 3, Trimi in 4, Verbova in 5, the athletes to watch. And Lafina in 6 should challenge for a place in the final. And surprisingly, Trimi has gotten off to what appears to be a poor start. We can expect her to build through the second 25, but at the moment it's Deng Yue, perhaps inspired by her teammate's performance in heat 1, who is up and stroking extremely well. A quick tempo, but it's quite even across the pool. Verbova in 5 with the double arm motion is staying on pace at the moment, and Lafina, well, we know when she's at her best, she's well capable of making the final, and looks as though she may have a very slim margin. There's not going to be much in it as they head towards the wall, but Lafina should touch in first if the timing is just right, and it is. So Lafina takes top position. The time a little slower, of course, no record to be broken in the second heat, 51.62. So Lafina from Ukraine, the quickest in heat 2. Deng Yue finishing second. There you see Lafina on your screen. And I feel that it was Trimi's start. She just didn't seem to be able to recover from that poor start, and I felt she might build momentum, but there could actually be a little bit of fatigue setting in at this point in the competition.
Well, yeah, Trimmy and Lafina both got off to relatively poor starts. Trimmy just couldn't make it up in the water. Lafina, though, looked very good. Didn't quite time that final stroke, and watch the wrist again. It always looks so painful, but registers the touch first regardless. Just ahead of Deng.
Not a huge margin. Lafina qualifying quickest from heat 2, then Deng, Verbova in 3rd position. We look to the final lineup. So Cheng, Lafina, Deng, Verbova. Garcia is through, much to the delight of the crowd here. Herrera, Trimmy, and Sigurd Dottir from Iceland.
So this is the men's 200-meter individual medley SM11, first heat of 2 in the 200 IM for competitors with severe visual impairment. Ortega, Liu, Yang, Moschenko, and Drake will go head-to-head in this battle between 10 competitors across 2 heats to decide on the 8 finalists. Going in lane 4, the familiar face of 5-time Paralympic champion Yang Bozun. 4 gold medals in London. World record holder, Paralympic record holder, defending champion. Gold in the 100 breasts. Darren Drake of the United States goes in lane 6. Alexander Moschenko is the defending, well, the reigning world champion. Ortega in 2, Liu in 3, Yang in 4, Moschenko in 5, Drake of USA going in 6. Yang is not swimming the 2:22s he was swimming when he set the world record some 4 years ago now, but he is still swimming very fast. Moschenko, bronze medalist in 2012, but the reigning world champion. Would fancy his chances in the lane alongside Yang. Yang slowly getting to the starters' blocks. Getting away very quickly in lane 3, Liu Chengguan of the People's Republic of China. Yang, though, is looking very, very strong at the moment as he gets into his fly stroke very comfortably. Now, he's not really going to be challenged if the competitors can't catch him on the fly stroke. But at the moment, the S11 swimmers, SM11 swimmers, bear in mind, are swimmers with visual impairment and swimming side by side and might be catching one another if they were a little closer. Moschenko and Yang nearly colliding with one another across the lane ropes at the opening 50. It's Yang who leads. Now back is where he might lose out just a little, but once he gets into his breaststroke, he'll be confident that he'll close out the final 100 of the race. So has he got enough in the backstroke? Hasn't been swimming regularly, Yang, in the build-up to Rio 2016, but is still a very strong swimmer with incredible class as a para-athlete.
Well, Liu's having a terrific backstroke leg, and you were right in that first length of the pool with the butterfly. Yang, it just cost him a little. He swam right across to the left and into the lane rope while he was completing his butterfly stroke. He wouldn't have been pleased with that, but he corrected himself almost quickly. Had a reasonable turn at the wall and held his own during the backstroke. Liu, perhaps more the known backstroker, and now that Yang is settling into his breaststroke, he'd have to be feeling pretty comfortable.
Yes. Oh, well, this is where Moschenko is going to come into his own as well, but Yang will certainly extend any advantage he has over any competitor in the field, bar possibly Moschenko, who's got a strong breaststroke as well. Darren Drake, though, is a very strong breaststroker, but has perhaps left himself with just a little too much to do in the closing 100. But Darren Drake of the United States is making a good go of it in lane 6 in this breaststroke leg. It is Yang who is leading by a big way, despite the fact that he's zigzagging slightly, comes up to the wall and turns at the final 50, and he'll bring this home very, very easily, he would hope. 2:33 ahead of Liu, who's quick in the freestyle as well. Moschenko, though, has just fallen back, and Darren Drake is now pushing up onto the shoulder of Moschenko. It wasn't a great turn from the Ukrainian, but Yang ahead of Liu at the moment, and Liu is making a real push to close out here. It's a very relaxed stroke from Yang, though. He's not fussed about posting times. You get the sense from Yang. Liu, however, a much faster tempo, much higher intensity from Liu, and Liu is in fact going to touch just ahead of Yang, so China 1-2 in the heats, and indeed it is Drake of the United States who touches third fastest. But Yang taking it very, very easy, and a 2:35.11 for the defending champion in the heats as he touches second behind Liu, 2:34.66. Third for Drake, 2:37.93, and Maschenko outside the 2:40 mark at 2:40.39. Ortega of Cuba touches in 2:48.98. So a China 1-2, a USA third through Drake.
Well, you could see on the shot there that his left arm, well, they're almost, well, they probably did actually clip each other just a little across the lane rope there, but Yang did correct himself heading into that first turn. And looked very, very relaxed in the final 50, but I guess you sense because of the, you know, he hasn't been swimming as much, he's probably just happy to get through on what he needs to do and save himself to be as fresh as possible for the final.
That's right, he hasn't gone through the preparation that many other Paralympic swimmers have been going through, where they've been going through hard, intense periods post the World Championships and then tapering down towards this this event. Liu, though, after touching first, gets to leave the pool net with a big smile on his face. Liu ahead of Yang, Drake touches third, Maschenko fourth, and Ortega fifth for Cuba. Men's 200 individual medley, SM11, heat 2 of 2. 5 swimmers will go head to head. So it is Urbano, Smirnov, Oliver, Kimura, and Jujila. Oh, Kimura still wanting his first Paralympic Games gold medal at his third Paralympic Games. He's going to have a challenge on his hands here from a man who's been swimming some fast times in recent years, the Spaniard Israel Oliver. Going off quickly in lane 5 is Kimura of Japan, comes up as he breaks water ahead of Oliver, who was champion in the 100 fly, so Oliver should fancy himself to lead out with a very strong opening leg. Oliver is catching up on Kimura, and indeed Smirnov of the Ukraine looking strong in the fly leg in what is an incredibly testing event, because you need to be technically adept at 4 strokes, and if you're weak in just one, and so often that is the breaststroke, it could prove costly in the individual medley. And it's a very taxing event. Every muscle in your body is going to be working over the 4 lengths of this pool. 1 in each of the strokes, starting off with a fly, coming back with the back into the breast, and then to touch at the 200 mark, the finishing mark, with a 53. But this is turning out to be a very good swim from Israel Oliver, who's a strong freestyler as well, and will be wanting to just maintain his position with the back and breaststroke legs.
Well, Oliver touching in, the 100 split was 1:10.44 after a length of butterfly and a length of backstroke. He looked so relaxed and comfortable through the backstroke, had really found his rhythm. And now in the breaststroke leg, looks to be just building a little more of an advantage over Smirnov, who's swimming just to the right of him, just hanging off his right-hand shoulder, and the pair are well ahead of the rest of the field in Zuzalao and Kimura.
So Kimura, who is a little off in his fly stroke, and indeed in the backstroke, finds himself looking to make up ground in the breaststroke. Touching first to the 150 split, though, is Oliver, the 100 fly gold medalist of Spain. Second is Smirnov, 154.26, and indeed Kimura just ahead of Jujila now of Belarus. Fifth is Urbano of Colombia. But 25 to go in the pool. Oliver is significantly ahead of any other swimmer, which happens to be Smirnov off his left shoulder, edging to the wall. While Kimura just having a little battle on his hands because Zhuzhilao is finishing strongest. First to touch though, Oliver ahead of Smirnov. And a very strong finish from Zhuzhilao, sees him touch ahead of Kimura. At times it'll be quick enough to see all four, the top four swimmers all advance to the final of the men's 200 IM SM11. Israel Oliver, 2:27.67. Fastest heat by some way. Just a little touch coming down from the tapper to warn the visually impaired swimmer that he's approaching the wall. Looked unchallenged, did Oliver. So Spain over Ukraine over Belarus, Oliver over Smirnov over Zhuzhilao, with Kimura, who has medalled in each one of his 4 events so far, only finishing 4th fastest in his heat. He'll advance to the final. Well, the Japanese swimmer, but the battle seems to be on between Oliver, Smirnov, Zhuzhilao. The 2 Chinese swimmers, do not discount either one of them. Yang has got plenty left and will be swimming significantly faster in the final. So too Kimura, you imagine. Women's 200-meter individual medley, SM11, first heat of 2. As they line up, Rabolini, Egel, Shear, Fischer, Ratchuk and Tsai. A reminder, this SM11 classification for swimmers with severe visual impairments, and all the swimmers will be swimming with blackened goggles, so no swimmer in the pool will be able to see anything at any stage. It's all about the feel of the water and about the knowledge of your strokes. Mary Fisher of New Zealand is the Paralympic champion, the world record holder. The 23-year-old from New Zealand, already gold in the 100 back. But she hasn't been going quite so fast in recent months as Xie Qing, who will go on her inside in lane 4. Rabolini, Egel, Xie, Fischer, Tkachuk and Tsai. Getting away quickly in lane 5 is Fisher of New Zealand. It's the 1 gold medal she won at London 2012. Well, she finished silver medal position in the 100 back. She won that title already at Rio 2016. At the moment it is Estonia's Elizabeth Egel, the 15-year-old, who's taking it out very hard and looking good in what is her first Paralympic Games, but so too Xie Qing, looking very strong in the fly stroke. Fischer holding on at the moment, while being lost is Rabolini, Tkachuk and Tsai. So 1, 2, 3 at the wall. It's Xie ahead of Egel, with Fischer touching 3rd fastest at the opening 50. But into the back, this is where Fischer will make up some ground on her competitors, almost certainly.
Fischer swimming was swimming very close to the left-hand lane right, but unfortunately has just had a big zigzag across the pool. It may prove a little costly for her in this length of the pool, the 50 back. And it's still the young athlete from Estonia, Eagle, who's having a terrific swim. She managed to build a modest lead in the first 50, and she's consolidated that through the backstroke leg, partly because Xie Qing lost her way a little, and Fisher as well, seemingly just a little costly for both swimmers, switching from one side of the pool to the other. But look at this, it's Eagle who's having a great swimmer, qualifying time of 2:56.79. So on paper, wouldn't have looked like too much of a challenger. We know that Xie and Fisher will come home strongly, but it's a brave swim from the Estonian.
Well, the Estonian indeed has failed to make the final of the 100 back, or indeed the 50 free, but she is showing some real promise in this 200 IM. Well, she finished, bear in mind, just outside the medals. The World Championships last year. Swam a 3:02 at the time, but has already gone a good 5 or 6 seconds faster this year, so it's challenging. She's going to touch first at the 150 split is Elizabeth Eagle, but she's up against Xie Qing, the 100 freestyle champion, and Mary Fisher, the 100 back champion. They should be stronger swimmers. Fisher, the world record holder in this event, is not too much reason to be swimming too fast in the opening heat, but certainly it looks to be Eagle who is ready to post not only a pretty decent time, but also a decent result in this race. Xie Qing is looking to catch her in the closing stages, and indeed now with 10 meters to go to the wall, is going to just swim past the young Estonian. Xie Qing will touch ahead of Eagle, and third fastest is Mary Fisher of New Zealand. It looks like Tsai Li-wen of the People's Republic of China is going to finish fourth, and indeed Katerina Tkachuk of Ukraine will touch fifth. Rabolini of Italy comes home sixth, 3:15.67. So Xie Qing, champion in the 100 free, 8 years on from first winning the title in Beijing. She reclaimed the title here in Rio. But a fine swim from Eagle. And Fisher will need to speak to the video analysts about splits and see where she can make up some ground. Certainly not pushing it, but she's had a very busy schedule at Rio 2016 as well, and again recovery periods so incredibly important for the swimmers with packed schedules. But Fisher as well, the zigzagging, there's evidence of it again. She spent a lot of time zigzagging, particularly in the backstroke leg, which is where she really should have made up some ground. But a strong swim from Eagle, who's just touched out by Xie Qing in the first heat of 2 in the women's 200 IM. Well, the technical officials are conferring. It seems we do have a disqualification. Tsai Li-wen will not have her result ratified. She's been disqualified. She was swimming in lane 7. She touched 4th fastest overall. Xie Qing, Elizabeth Eagle and Mary Fisher, the top 3. So Tkachuk and Rabolini finished 4th and fastest. 4th and 5th fastest in this first heat. Second heat to the women's 200 individual medley, SM11. We have Martinez, Reichardt, Bruinsma, Schulte, Pedubna and Bereshna. Bruinsma of the Netherlands, quickest over this distance in seeding. 2:49 swimmer already this year. Schulte of Germany, now at 34. Decorated swimmer. Goes in lane 5 alongside Bruinsma, Maya Reichardt. She missed out on a gold in her favourite event, the 100 breast, only managing the bronze. But she's had a couple of surprise results as well. Letitia Martinez of the United States in 2, Reichardt, Bruinsma, Schulte, Pedubna and Bereshna down to 7. Very good start from Bruinsma, so too in lane 6, Pedubna of the Ukraine, the 18-year-old. But Bruinsma is not looking strongest in the water just yet. It's Pedubna who's looking like she's taking a little early lead. Bruinsma, though, comes into her stroke as she approaches the 25-meter mark. Going in lane 3, Maya Reichardt. While going in lane 2, Letitia Martinez is not looking too badly in the fly, the opening fly. Schulte, this is not her strongest stroke, but she is still trying to hang on to Bruinsma and Pedubna on her outside. Pedubna fading slightly. It's Bruinsma and Reichardt who have built into their stroke in the fly, and it's Reichardt, in fact, who touches first at the 50.
Yeah, the second 25 of the first 50 was particularly strong for Reichardt. She just seemed to find her rhythm, and you could see that she managed to maintain a line throughout the last 15 or so, which is a little costly for Pedubna, who's swimming in 6, just seemed to lose her way ever so slightly. But now it's Reichardt who's very comfortable, a smooth mechanical stroke almost, looking extremely relaxed in the backstroke lab. Pedubna has recovered somewhat and she will touch in to the wall first. So she's had a great backstroke leg, Pedubna. If she can build on this, she may end up taking the heat, because we know that she's got a very strong final freestyle leg in her.
Yeah, she does, but Reichardt is the class breaststroker in this field. Bruinsma, though, did beat her in the 100 breaststroke, and indeed, lest we forget the quality of Schulte as a breaststroker. So Pedubna might be overhauled here and has already been overhauled by Maya Reichardt in this breaststroke as expected. But Bruinsma is showing some real speed as a breaststroker once again. She finished silver in the 100 breaststroke, but Reichardt is looking to prove just a little point here with that fine stroke in the water. It's always been a favourite event. Maya Reichardt, many times a world champion over the 100 breast, and indeed the Paralympic Games champion of 2012, but unable to defend that title in 2016, much to her disappointment. Reichardt touches nearly 2 seconds ahead of Bruinsma. Might have enough to hold it. She's a very strong sprinter. She finished in silver medal position in the 50 free. But again, it's a heat. And indeed, don't want to expend too much energy. It's on her outside, though. Bruinsma, who's looking stronger. Schulte's fallen off the pace, so too Pedubna. It's a battle between Bruinsma and Reichardt, and it's Bruinsma in the last 20 who's going to come to the wall quickest. So Lisette Bruinsma of the Netherlands is going to touch quickest at 2:54.70 ahead of Reichardt of Sweden, and it looks like Pedubna is going to edge Schulte at the wall. No, it is Schulte. Got her on the stroke by 1/100th of a second. Well, Martinez will touch 6th after Bereshna made her way home in lane 7. 3:08.67 for Bereshna and 3:11.96 for Martinez. But Lisette Bruinsma, the strong final 50. Reichardt, quality swimmer, she's proved that over the years. And Schulte, 1/100th of a second separating her from Pedubna, as she touched out for the 3rd place. Reichardt, just a little reach though in the backstroke at the turn, perhaps lost a little there, but in the end it was Bruinsma's strength who managed to bring her home comfortably quickest. Brainsma, goggles inspected, leaves the pool deck. Brainsma 2:54.70 ahead of Reichardt. No other swimmer under 3 minutes. Schulte separated by 1/100th of a second from Perobna. Bereshna touching 5th, Martinez 6th. So Brainsma qualifies quickest ahead of Ching. Maya Reichardt qualifies 3rd fastest. She'll go in lane 3 for the final. Ego of Estonia might fancy a chance of a medal, but she'll have to battle amongst others the world record holder Fischer, who'll expect to go substantially faster come final time.
Men's 100 metres freestyle S13 classification for visually impaired athletes. We have 3 heats, 22 athletes vying for a place in the final 8 to be contested later on day 9. And we have the S12 record holder, Maxim Varaksa, you can see swimming in lane 4. So S12 and S13 swimmers combining for this event. Cuesta Martinez in 1. Salguero Ortiza from Spain in 2. Fahrenberg from Brazil, who is the local hope here. Maxim Varaksa in 4. Braden Jason from Australia in 5. Ilya Yaramenko from Ukraine in 6. And Guilherme Silva from Brazil in 7. So 2 Brazilian hopes here. You can hear the crowd getting ready to launch into full voice for the 100 metres freestyle, 2 lengths of the Olympic pool. And Varaksa, the S12 classification swimmer and the world record holder, 50.91 seconds. The Paralympic record is 51.40. And Ihar Boki, who holds the S13 classification records, both the world and Paralympic records, will swim in heat 3 of 3. So this is heat 1 of 3. 7 athletes in this heat, 7 athletes in heat 2 and 8 in heat 3. So we won't see too many conservative swims here because there's so many athletes vying for a position in the top 8. And most won't want to be leaving anything to chance. Well, it was an excellent start for Fahrenberg out of the blocks, but once they're up and stroking, it's Varaksa, the world and Paralympic record holder, who, well, had the early advantage, but Braden Jason from Australia as well is holding firm in lane 5. It does look as though Fahrenberg may touch in at the wall first. You can hear the crowd absolutely getting behind him, and Carlos Fahrenberg has touched in at 25.31. He's taken it out extremely hot in that first 50.
Well, just so good on the turn. And one thing that you can tell about the S13 swimmers is many of them can see the tee. So they are a lot stronger on the turn than some of the S12 swimmers, which does put Varaksa at a disadvantage. But he's very, very quick in the water, and Varaksa might just catch up to Fahrenberg in the closing stages. So
Fahrenberg's faded just a little. It's going to be Varaksa, the winner of heat 1. Fahrenberg and Jason touching in on either side of him. A very strong finish from Varaksa. The turn, as you mentioned, not quite as straightforward swimming in the slightly lower classification, but Varaksa, a solid performance. There's Fahrenberg, the Brazilian, on your screen there, simply buoyed by the support here. And see Jason come up on the screen as well. So that's the 1, 2 and 3. Fantastic out of the blocks for Varaksa. It was Fahrenberg that got away to the quickest start though. And at the turn, Fahrenberg led the field. It was only the final 25 that Varaksa motored home and overtook the Brazilian. They'll most likely be competing in the final together, save for any extraordinary results in the 2 heats to follow. So Varaksa 1, confirmation of the results from Heat 1. Farrenberg 2 and Jason in 3rd position. 53.18. We'll have to wait and see for the likes of Braden Jason whether his time of 53.90 is enough to get through, given the calibre of swimmers we still have to come. So this is Heat 2 of the men's 100 metres freestyle S13 classification. There's Letelski from Poland in 1, Russo from Australia in 2, Clegg from Great Britain in 3, Denisenko, a decorated swimmer, in 4, Raman Saleh in 5, the younger of the two Saleh brothers competing for Azerbaijan at these games, Dmitry Horlin from Uzbekistan in 6, and Tomás Matera from Brazil will compete in lane 7. The crowds erupted into a chant for Brazil, but unfortunately for the swimmers, that means there's a little delay because the starter does need quiet to get this race underway. Great start from Denisenko. He's a class act, so quick out of the blocks, and he's just got a very early advantage as they round through the 25-metre mark. There's not a lot in it, though. Clegg's having a great swim, and so is the younger of the Saleh brothers, Raman Saleh, the 22-year-old, who's really staying with Denisenko as they head into the one and only turn of this race. So it's going to be Denisenko who touches in first. He'll need to get a solid turn here because he's under a little bit of pressure. And we know that with a quality field to come in Heat 3, there's going to need to be a quick time to ensure a finals berth.
Well, Denisenko is arguably quickest in the pool, but indeed Raman Saleh's had a good championships. He's swimming well at the moment as well. That'll boost his confidence. And Stephen Clegg of a very, very strong Paralympic family, not to mention Dmitry Horlin, who is showing some class in the closing stages.
Well, it's going to be Denisenko who touches in first, 53.41, so a little slower than the first heat, and Saleh, as expected, touching in second. Had a great swim, the youngster representing Azerbaijan, and Dmitry Horliv from Uzbekistan, 55.12. So the minor placings of that heat a little slower than in Heat 1. And the heat marginally slower overall, 53.41. Heat 1's time was 53.18. So not a huge amount in it, but it is important to look at the final lane allocations for the evening session. And Denisenko led the field into the wall, got a great turn. He's so well drilled, and in the end was relatively unchallenged for that first place in Heat 2. And confirmation of the results. So Ukraine the quickest with Denisenko, Raman Saleh second, Dmitry Horlin, Clegg, Matera, Russo will all have to wait until the conclusion of Heat 3 to see who makes it into the final. So we have Heat 3 of 3. Akhmatov, Templeton, Klippert, Boki, Saleh, the older of the two brothers, and to Sankanajev, Agokov and Mrak. And Boki, the champion, swimming for Belarus, got a fantastic start. We know he's just such a slick performer, and he'll know exactly what he needs to do to qualify for the final. Already a half body length advantage as they head into the first turn. It'll be interesting to see the split time. It's actually a pretty quick first 50, 24.71. Quicker than the previous heats, and Boki's taken it out extremely hard. He's backing into this second 50 with a full body length advantage over the rest of the field.
Alihar Boki knows exactly what he needs to do. He hasn't been swimming out at world record paces in any of his races, including the finals. He knows he's the class act, and he's just doing enough to beat. He's got 7 individual races to focus on, and indeed is just focusing on doing enough as he touches quickest in this third heat ahead of Klippert and Dmitry Saleh.
A lot quicker, Heat 3, substantially quicker, 2 seconds clear of Heat 2. So Ihar Boki touching in at 51.54, a Paralympic record time. And, well, that's going to make for very nervous 15 or 20 seconds for the others that were in heats 1 and 2, because that was substantially quicker. Clippett touching in at 53.69 and Saleh, the older Saleh brother, 53.82. But Boki really just demonstrating why he's so good over this distance, and he's the world record and Paralympic champion, so world record holder, Paralympic record holder for the S13. Just had his Paralympic record broken, but his world record stands. Oh no, look at it. It's he's bettered his own mark. So 51.54. So Clippett into Saleh in 3. Let's have a look at the final standings. This is going to be very interesting indeed, given the discrepancy in time. So there we have Boki's the quickest, as expected. 2 Ukrainians. The Brazilian Fahrenberg is the 4th quickest with the qualification. So much for the Brazilian crowd to cheer about later on. This is the women's 100 metres freestyle S13 classification. Another 3 heats and 21 athletes to compete for 8 finals berths. The first of the 3 heats is all about the United States and Australia. We have 1 Slovakian athlete. So we have Curry, Jones, Myers, Ruther, Watt, and Petrikovikova. So Myers, we know, is having such a great game. She hasn't had a great start though. It's Jenna Jones from Australia who was quickest out of the blocks, had a great underwater and came up first to have a slim advantage over the rest of the field. Ruther from the United States as well. Look, it's almost an even line across the inside lanes at the moment. Jenna Jones, Maya, Ruther and Watt just falling off the pace a little.
Well, at the wall it is very close. Myers touches just ahead of Jones, with Reuter of the United States touching 3rd quickest. Still not too much of a gap as well between Kaylin Curry, who touched in 4th, but off the wall, Jenna Jones looks to have had a great turn as she looks to be leading Myers, but Myers will catch her in the stroke and stay just ahead, you would imagine, with a chase on by Reuter going in lane 5.
So Myers looking very strong in this final 50. She's almost got a full body length. She's built through the final 15, would you believe? And it's going to be Jenna Jones from Australia touching in 2nd. And Reuter in 3rd position. So again, a lot of athletes competing for a finals berth in this event. We've got the combined classification S13 and S12. And Stetsenko, the world record and Paralympic record world record holder, is swimming in heat number 3. And it was extremely even, only 6/100ths of a second in it between the Myers and Jones at the turn. And in the end, it was Myers that just proved to be too strong over the final 50. So 101.35. And all swimmers a little below their qualification times, but hoping to have done enough to go through to the final later on day 9. This is heat 2 of the women's 100 metres freestyle S13 classification. And 6 swimmers swimming from lanes 2 through to 7. Eleanor Krauzo from Germany in lane 2, Alicia Berra from Italy in 3, Hannah Russell from Great Britain in 4, the fastest qualifying time posted by her, one of only 2 athletes to swim under a minute in qualifying for this event. Naomi Schnitger, Katia Dedekin from Australia and Marianne Polo Lopez from Spain rounding out that field. So it's a reminder there of the 2 records that apply to this event, because we have a combination of S13 and S12 classifications. Swimming is 1. Savchenko The world and Paralympic record holder, 58.41 is that mark. And for the S13 classification, Stetsenko, the world record holder, she swam that record in May this year, will swim in heat 3. So Bera, Russell, Schnittke, Dedekind across the inside lanes. Polo Lopez in 7, Kreutzal in 2. And it's Russell that's had the best of the starts, in fact building a substantial lead at the 25-metre mark. She's 3/4 of a body length in front, but coming back now is Schnittke, who's finally found her rhythm, and Bera as well, looking very strong, trying to stay in touch, just swimming off Russell's right shoulder, dropping off the pace ever so slightly as they head into the wall. And it will be split of 28.52 by Hannah Russell, so they've taken it out a little slower than the first heat, but Hannah Russell looking good and looking now unchallenged in the home stretch.
Yeah, Hannah Russell looking really good ahead of the young up-and-coming talent that is Schnittke of Germany. She's still got plenty to learn. Dedekind as well on her outside. Schnittke and Bera at the moment battling for second behind Russell, who's leading confidently.
Well, Russell's going to cruise into the wall. It'll be interesting to see the time here. She's just snuck in under the 1 minute mark, so 59.99. That was a lot quicker, heat number 2. So the advantage sometimes of swimming in heat 3 is, of course, you can see what's been swum before you and you know how hard to push yourself. 59.99, 3.5 seconds quicker than heat 1. That was the 1:03.35. So it'll be a very nervous time for those swimming in heat 1. To look at the final makeup of the final, but Russell, a class act, so well drilled, an experienced campaigner, got off to a great start. You can see she made the most of her turn, really nailed it, and was unchallenged through the back 50. So it was Russell followed by Schnittke, who swam a 1:01.78. And Bera swam a 1:02.29. Confirmation of the results there, and now those athletes will wait to see the final lineup. This is the women's 100 metres freestyle S13 classification heat 3. We have the world record holder Stetsenko swimming in 4. So the makeup there, 3 athletes from Uzbekistan, 2 from Spain, Amalova, Odilova, Mendak from Poland, Stetsenko from Ukraine, Tosh Pilatova from Uzbekistan, Ido Beltran from Spain, and Gomez Batelli swimming alongside her teammate in lane 7. So Stetsenko set her world record of 58.05 for the S13 classification as her qualification time for this event. And off to the best of the starts is Ido Beltran, who is in lane 6, but it's evening out already. She hasn't been able to capitalise on that, and it's Stetsenko, as expected, up and stroking very strongly. She's absolutely cruising. Odilova as well, having a decent swim in lane 2, but at the moment Stetsenko will lead the field into the wall. Doesn't look to be quite as quick as the previous heat, but has a fair advantage and a great turn. Yeah,
I'm a little surprised as well that we're not seeing Amilova go out a little harder, because they're so capable of leading out. Tosh Pilatova as well going in 5, but it's Stetsenko of the Ukraine who's got this race under control. And she's somebody who's already had a very special Rio 2016. We're starting to see a fresh fight back from Amilova going in lane 1. And she's looking good for a 3rd place touch overall behind Stetsenko and Tosh Pilatova. Well, Stetsenko will touch in 1st. Tosh Pilatova will touch in 2nd. The time was actually pretty handy in the end. It looked as though it could have been a second or 2 slower, but actually the final margin was 0.4 of a second, 0.41 of a second rather, compared with the previous heat. So it'll be Stetsenko 1 minute 0.40. So the second quickest heat, but not by much.
And Stetsenko got off to a fair start, not the best of the field. It was Mendak and Ida Beltran who had really great reaction times from the blocks. But Stetsenko led it into the wall, had a great turn, consolidated the lead, and you get the sense perhaps pulled up just a little, about 15 metres from the end. She knew she was going pretty quickly and perhaps just wanting to leave a little in the tank for a good final performance later on day 9. So Stetsenko, Toshpolatova, Amalova, Odilova, and this final lineup is going to be very interesting indeed. There's a number of athletes jostling around. It's going to come down to a few hundredths of a second. So there you have it: Russell, Stetsenko, Toshpolatova, Myers, Schnittke, Amalova, Berra and Odilova. So it was Uzbekistan represented by 3 athletes in the final.
This is the first heat of 2 in the men's 50-meter backstroke S5. This is a race that has been dominated by a Brazilian for a number of years. Daniel Giasch will go in 2 in the second heat, but going in lane 2, one of 2 Vietnamese swimmers who's put in fine performances at Rio 2016 already. Nguyen, Larsen, Mullen, Eroglu and Leslie. Andrew Mullen, the 19-year-old Glaswegian, where the World Championships were held last year in Glasgow. Mullen has come to prominence over the last year, and he will go in lane 4. He's gone sub 38 seconds this year. Denmark, it's Team Larsen watching in the stands. Jonas Larsen, the 24-year-old, bronze in the 150 IM, a race that in which Cameron Leslie claimed his 3rd consecutive 150 individual medley title after golds in Beijing and London. Cameron Leslie nearest to your screen of New Zealand. Good. 10 swimmers who will look for one of 8 places in the final of the men's 50 back. Starting in the water for the backstroke. Nguyen, Larsen, Mullen, Eroglu, Leslie. It's Eroglu of Turkey, 5th in the 50 fly. Oh, Mullen getting up very high and getting off to a really good underwater. So too Eroglu, but it is Mullen who comes up and looks to be leading. Now, Eroglu likes to take it out hard, but has he got enough to hold on? And already Mullen is starting to catch him. Mullen with some real rotation of those arms, looking to post a really quick time. Andrew Mullen, bronze medalist in the 200 free. He just missed out in 2 of the other sprint events on medals. That 4th place in the 50 fly in particular. But the 50 free 5th place finisher is not going to be denied in his favourite stroke. In the backstroke, he's going to come home well ahead of any other swimmer in the pool. Eroglu will touch for second, but it's Mullen of Great Britain who touches first, ahead of Eroglu, with Leslie of New Zealand touching 3rd fastest, the IM champion. Larsen and Nguyen will touch 4th and 5th. But Andrew Mullen has been swimming very well over this last year, and at 37.77 just holds up a banner that says beware to a few other challenges for medals come final time. Cameron Leslie of New Zealand, 3rd overall. So much down to the start over these sprints, and Mullen got off to a really good one.
You could see Mullen went very deep in the water. That is the preference of some athletes, is to take that deep curve through the water and surface gradually, come up with plenty of momentum from that underwater kick. It's a common tactic we're seeing in these sprints in some of the lower classifications, and Mullen's stroke rate was just so quick. You know, it was a fantastic windmill action.
Well, Cameron Leslie has just set his personal best, a 41.30 in the backstroke. He finishes 3rd behind Eroglu and Mullen. Men's 50-meter backstroke S5, second heat of 2. It does feature three of the favorites for medals, but it features the Brazilian superstar that is Daniel Dias. Dias goes in lane 4. There is Brazil's favourites. Only at his 3rd Paralympic Games. Gold medalist of 2008, gold medalist of 2012. In his 6 events so far, he has medalled in every one, claiming 2 golds. Now up to a dozen Paralympic Games gold medals. There is Lopez Diaz of Mexico going in 6. Masusi of Italy will go in 2. Veretsky of Hungary will go in 3. Diaz, Vo, and Lopez of Mexico. Now, Veretsky of Hungary, one of the legends in this race. Remarkably, at 39, he's approaching his 40th birthday. He is swimming in his 7th consecutive Paralympic Games and searching for a 7th consecutive medal in this event. 3-time champion. And he's up against Dias, who's won the last 2 gold medals. And looking for a 3rd successive title. But this is about the matter of advancing from the heats. Dias the favourite. The world record holder, who's been a regular under 35 seconds, despite the fact that his world record only stands at 34.95. He's been under it a couple of times in recent years. Daniel Dias is going out very hard, showing great pace in the water in the backstroke. It's not going to be quite as quick as his world record, but he's still going along very quickly through the water. Daniel Dias is needing to just get himself to the wall ahead of any other swimmer in the pool. They're willing him to the wall, and of course the Brazilian fans will see their man claim the win ahead of Vo and Veretsky of Hungary. Daniel Dias, he's swimming 9 events at Rio 2016. He's already done 6. This is his 7th. Vo of Vietnam coming in 2nd, and that man Veretsky of Hungary, the 3rd place. But Dias just looks imperious in the water.
Does look to be in terrific form, and he looked extremely comfortable. Great pace, great action, possibly peerless, although it was interesting to see. I mean, the time set in Heat 1, 37.77. Certainly a medal challenger may well come from Heat 1 as well.
Although a lot more spread out in the opening heat. The second heat sees Dias, Vo, Veretsky, Lopez and Masusi. Masusi's posted a time that'll be quick enough to make the final as well. So the faster of the heats across all the swimmers, not necessarily the fastest time posted in the heats. Let's confirm who has advanced to the final. Indeed, Cameron Leslie and Andrea Masusi do sneak in. Lopez, Hiroglu, Veretsky, Vo, Mullen and Dias, the favourite, going in the final of the men's 50 backstroke S5. So the first heat of 2 in the women's 50 backstroke S5. Giretti, Fati, Trebinova, Wu, Narita and Kravchenko are the swimmers who go lanes 2 to 7 in this opening heat. 2004 and 2008 champion Bela Trebinova, who maintains that Paralympic record from 41.03. She swam to win gold in Beijing 8 years ago, having returned to the pool, and now already a medalist at Rio 2016 with a bronze in the 50 free. This would be her favourite event, however. So Giretti, Fati, Trebinova, Wu, Narita and Kravchenko of Malta going in 7. Trebinova getting off decently, but Wu Chi showing a little strength off the wall. And Fati of France might fancy a top 3 finish here, while Narita of Japan is not being dropped off the pace, and at the moment is just coming back on Wu Chi. So Trebinova leading the way, going in lane 4, showing her class. Good high tempo from Trebinova here with a great catch and pull. And wonderful cupping action. She's got the rotation looking superb. Straighter on the right arm, but what she does have is real power through the water. And she will actually bring it home just ahead of Narita, who's swimming a fine race going in lane 6. Trebinova touches in world record time here. That can't be right, because her world record is at 38.68. I think the caption a little misleading, but Narita certainly swam a fine time. I can tell you it's not a world record. It was definitely well off Pella Trebinova's best. But a 44.49. It was a fast time, considering she's been out of the pool for some time, but somebody who's capable of going 41 seconds, a 44.49. But Narita must be delighted. A very, very big personal best for somebody who's battled to go sub 48. Has just swum a 46.74. Fati of France finishes 3rd with a 59.3. Pella Trebinova, swimmer from the Czech Republic, just powered her way to the victory. Just an extra stroke that was unnecessary. Pella Trebinova touches quickest. It's not in world record time. Trebinova, Narita, Fati, Wu, Giretti and Kravchenko in that order. Going in the second heat, Perales and Rung will go head-to-head again in this second heat of 2 in the women's 50 backstroke S5. So, Chabel, Gialamas, Perales, Rung and Chung. Rung of Norway with a blue swim cap will go alongside the legend that is Perales. Chabel, Gialamas, Perales, Rung and Zhang. It's a good start here from Perales going in lane 4. So Perales looking to get off to an inspired start. Still searching for a gold medal at Rio 2016. At the age of 40 though, still going strong. The 24-time Paralympic medalist from Zaragoza in Spain. Perales looking very strong on this stroke. Rung, 2 gold medals already. Just well off the pace here, while at the moment it is Chun Li of the People's Republic of China going in 6, and indeed going in lane 3. Alyssa Gialamas of the United States looking good for 2nd and 3rd place finishes. So Perales will touch first at 44.48. She'll be the quickest qualifier by 1/100th of a second. Zhang touches just ahead of Gilamas. And Rong, fourth fastest overall at 49.37. So comfortably through to the final. All 5 competitors with those times. Chauvel with a 50.36. That'll be quick enough to see her advance as she touched 5th fastest. But Teresa Perales in a league of her own in this heat, and perhaps that gold medal is on the cards for Perales once more.
Well, there was 1/100th of a second between the finishing times of those 2 heats, but as you say, as a whole, the second heat was far quicker, far more qualifiers. In fact, all swimmers almost from heat 2 will go through. Perales searching for that gold medal she so desperately wants, and she must have to say she's an excellent prospect.
So Perales ahead of Zhang. Gilamas of the United States look good to swim at 48.65. Wrong, only a 49.37, well off her best. And Chauvel will qualify with her qualifying time. 50.36 for Chauvel, sees her qualify 7th fastest overall. Fatih sneaks in, but it's Perales and Trebunova who'll go head-to-head for the gold, you would expect. Mayumi Narita, Zhang Li, Gilamas, and Rung will go a lot faster, I suspect, come the final.
This is the men's 150 metres individual medley SM3 classification, heat 1 of 2. And in the first heat we have the Paralympic champion Du Jianping, who failed to defend his 50 metres freestyle title and will really want to defend this title. We have 3 strong Chinese swimmers across the 2 heats, the world record and Paralympic records holders. Du in lane 4 is the Paralympic record holder. So we have Kroski, Castorina, Du, Vian Radetz and Fredriksson in the first heat of 2. So the 150 metres individual medley for the SM3 classification means there is no butterfly leg at the beginning. So they start with a backstroke, head into breaststroke and finish with a freestyle. And early on it's Vino Radetz who's off to a great start with the backstroke. We do know that he is a strong backstroke swimmer, so not a huge surprise, but Du will want to keep in check there. He won't want to drop off the pace too much, and 5 swimmers in each of the heats, so it's been an extremely busy past 48 hours for the SM3 classification swimmers. They're all bunched together and new events every day, so a very full program. Vino Radetz touching in 46.50, and Du is just over 3 seconds off the pace as they head into their breaststroke leg. And Castorina, who was the silver medalist in Athens, so is now 38, just touching in, trailing the field at the moment. But it looks as though Du is managing to make up just a little bit of the pull on Vian Radetz, who's a full body length in front at the moment, and the pair are well in front of the rest of the field. Corsi from Thailand, you can see at the top of your screen. So he's swimming in lane 2. He's just been overtaken by Castorina, and Fredriksson also just staying in touch with the minor positions of this heat. But the standings are going to remain the same at the second turn. Vino Radetz hasn't managed to make up much of the pool on Du. Du just staying in touch at the moment. Well,
Du is he'll be stronger in the first leg and the third leg here. He's a strong freestyler and backstroker, so he should fancy his chances of staying in that second place. Vino Radetz, though, is a quality all-round swimmer, and indeed does touch first at 156.77 at the wall, just outside 2 minutes for Du Jianping of the People's Republic of China. Castorina touches 3rd fastest overall at 2:10.81, so well off the pace at the moment, but does turn 3rd in the pool. Fredriksson 4th, and Kosri will touch 5th. But Vino Radetz extending his advantage here, and Du holding on for 2nd place, well ahead of Castorina.
So Vino Radetz has had a fantastic freestyle leg. He's really stretched out, extended his lead, so strong in the upper body, and he may well challenge the record here. It's going to be close. He might know he'll just fall a little short of that, but he's done enough to qualify as the winner of heat 1 of 2, and doing just what he needs to. And as we've said, an extremely busy schedule here. Touch in second, so a time of 2:59.45. Vinohradets 2:46.04. And next to touch in will be Castorina, who made up a lot of ground on the breaststroke leg, it must be said. He had a strong breaststroke leg. Fredriksson, who's been so popular with the crowds here, will touch in next from Sweden. And the final swimmer, who's going to receive a rousing applause from the Brazilian crowd, is from Thailand. Sharkorn Korsri is just completing his freestyle leg. And the Thai athlete touching in 5th position, and the crowd absolutely getting behind him when they saw he was trailing the rest of the field and giving him some support the last 25 metres. So the winner of heat 1, 2:46.04, Dmitry Vinohradets. And second position, Du Jianping, who still holds the Paralympic record after that heat. 2:59.45 was his qualification time. And you can see Fredriksson there, just how strong he is under the water, getting into that rhythmic motion as he breaks water, and got off to a good start, but it really was all about Vinohradets. Such a strong all-round performer, as we mentioned. Do a little stronger in the first and third lengths of the pool, but managed to hold his own in the breaststroke leg. He actually dropped off more in the freestyle leg. I suspect was tiring just a little, and knowing that he didn't need to push himself too much to ensure qualification into the final, given the lineup of the rest of the field. So still 5 swimmers to come in heat 2. And Vinohradets there by the side of the pool. Now goes and has a few hours to rest and recuperate. He'll keep an eye on the lineup for heat 2 and see what sort of times Huang Wenpeng is able to post. He set the world record, Huang, back in June this year in Berlin, and that doubles as his qualification time of 2:43.13. So the final So it appears there that Vinohradets, despite winning the first heat, has been disqualified. We'll await further confirmation as to whether that is contested. The men's 150 metres individual medley SM3 classification. So Huang Wenpeng, the athlete's now waiting for some time by the side of the pool. Huang Wenpeng will swim from lane 4. He is the world record holder. As discussed, he set the world record in June this year, so we know he's got excellent recent form. Tronco from Mexico in 2, Dunkor from Thailand in 3, Huang in 4, Lee in 5, and Kostakis in 6. Starting with the backstroke leg, of course, no butterfly in the SM3 classification for the individual medley. Huang has won 3 gold medals already and a silver, and easily the fastest qualifier. It's actually Dunkor in lane 3 who's having a terrific backstroke leg, it must be said. He got away to a really good start, has a fantastic rhythmic kick, and alongside him, Huang just starting to make up a little of the pool now, and Lee also staying in touch, has the double arm backstroke motion and sitting a little higher in the water. And Tronco in lane 2 is just staying in touch with the leaders at the moment, but it's going to be Dunkor who will touch in at the wall first, the first of the 2 turns for this 150 IM. And Dunkor's managed his first length of the pool in 55.71. About 2 body lengths in front, and we know that Huang and Li are technically proficient with their breaststroke. We can expect them to make up a little bit of the pool here. Although at the moment, it does seem to be Dunkor who's setting a really quick tempo.
Yeah, Dunkor's a very, very long time competitor, and he's somebody who, ironically, while the fly leg is not swimming here, actually got his one and only Paralympic Games gold medal swimming the 50 fly all the way back in Athens 2000. But indeed, Dunkor is still leading, but not by much. Li Tingshen, who's a strong breaststroker, is making up some time in the pool. Huang Wenpan, he's had a very tough schedule, 5 events that he's swum in the last 6 odd days of competition, and he's managed to win 4 golds and a silver in those 5 events. 4 of them he's set world record times in, so he's somebody who's had a very, very rough schedule as Huang Wenpan, and you just get a sense that he isn't going all out in this race. He'll have some left for the final. Li Tingshen, though, very good breaststroker, will take the lead at the into this final 50 freestyle. Dunkor now might just lose it on the freestyle, but he's going to hold on for a decent time as well. Li Tingshen, flamboyant character and one of the jovial men who he just loves being in the pool so much, and a real welcome addition to the pool deck, wanting to go one better than his silver in the 50 breast. So making a little statement here, perhaps alongside his compatriot Huang Wenpan, but both will be capable of going faster in the final.
Yes, the Chinese pair easily swimming well within their capabilities at the moment, but it's been a nice performance here from Li. He's had a lovely final leg and a nice stretch out in the pool. Hopefully that may have helped get rid of any soreness for Huang as well. A reasonably relaxed tempo, and Dunkor from Thailand touches in 3rd position for that heat. So he's had a great swim as well. He'll make it through to the final, and the final there's the celebrations there from Li, spitting water around. Maybe he'll try and get some on his teammate, but the big cheer at the moment is for Tronco from Mexico, who's completing his freestyle leg. And the crowd here very generous in their reception of the athlete from Mexico. So it's China 1-2, Thailand 3, heading into the final. And for those athletes not likely to challenge for medals, just having to swim a little quicker in the heats to make sure they book a place in the final. So it was Dunkor who got off to the strongest start of all swimmers. He set a really good tempo in the butterfly, in the backstroke leg. And it was really not until the final freestyle length of the pool that the field spread out, but even then it wasn't by too much. So it's Li Tingshen touching in first. Not a big margin at all next to his teammate Huang, who is at 2:43.14, the world record holder. And a nice finish there from Tronco.
There we go. Li playing to the galleries.
So 2:58.54, a lot slower the second heat. It's visibly slower. They've done what they needed to, the 2 Chinese swimmers, to join their teammate in the final. And that scratching with Kostakis just improves the chances for the slower swimmers to make it through. So it appears Vinohradet's time has been reinstated. So 2:46.04, the quickest qualifier. Then the 3 Chinese athletes, Li, Huang and Du. Dunkor qualifies 5th fastest, Castorina, Fredrickson and Tronco rounding out the field.
So that is the preliminary session on day 9 of competition. It is complete. The heats for day 9 are over. Indeed, some excitement, but some real challenges on for gold, silver and bronze medals in the final session. A good world record in the women's 50-meter backstroke by Cheng Jiao. And she'll be hoping to close out the gold in the final session. It's the penultimate day of the swimming competition at Rio 2016, but a preliminary session is complete. The heats are done. One world record in the session, but indeed plenty to look forward to, and we look forward to your company for the finals program on day 9. But until then, from the Olympic Aquatic Stadium, it is goodbye.